Hey everybody, I'm going to give it a second to let some folks roll in, and then we're going to start our Harris versus Pence pregame show. All right, our first folks have joined the live stream. And then I've got Cynthia Cano and Kate Roberts who are going to send me questions that you all are asking or comments. And then importantly, Cynthia's about to post a link to a 1 million voter phone bank that we're going to host this coming Monday. We're calling it Calling Texas, which is a play on London Calling, which is a reference to The Clash. In fact, if you know that London Calling album, you'll see that our Calling Texas shirt is a throwback to that, which in itself was a reference to a Elvis Presley album that preceded it. But it's Calling Texas, the 1 million voter phone bank. And as the name would suggest, we're going to try to reach 1 million Texas voters who very well could decide not just the outcome of important state house and U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate elections, but they could make this the first year in 44 years that a Democratic nominee for president wins the state of Texas. And what that means is that this election could be over on election night. If, like me, you're a little bit concerned about what Donald Trump is going to try to do in an effort to steal this election or prematurely, illegitimately, illegally declare victory before all the votes are counted, considering that Pennsylvania, we won't know on election night where Pennsylvania has come down. It may take days or weeks to count all the ballots there. If you want to know on election night, if you want our national nightmare to be over on the 3rd of November, because you just can't take it anymore, then Texas. And if you are going to accept that theory or that case, then you've got to be part of making sure that Texas comes through for this country. So here's the deal that Texas is offering you. You come through for us now by signing up for the 1 million voter phone bank, and there is a link right at the bottom of this screen. You see it there, poweredbypeople.org/callingtexas. You come in for us. You come through for us on the 12th of October on this phone bank that we're having on Monday. And then we will come through for you wherever you are in the United States on the 3rd of November. We will hold up our end of the bargain. But it's not going to happen on its own, even though, and this is pretty exciting, Joe Biden, 48%, Donald Trump, 48%. That was the poll that came out on Texas Today. Biden, 48, Trump, 48. They are tied, folks. And you will decide the outcome if you're willing to put in the work to call the voters who will be heading to the polling places as early as this coming Tuesday. The 13th of October is the first day of early voting in Texas. So therefore, on the 12th of October, the day before that, Monday, we are going to call more than 1 million Texas voters. And hope you are going to help me call more than 1 million Texas voters. And then get this, we have some really big names, some really wonderful Americans who will be joining us to talk about the state of our democracy, the importance of Texas coming through for this country. Willie Nelson, Oprah Winfrey, Bernie Sanders, Stacey Abrams, Julián Castro, Andrew Yang, and many, many more lights and celebrities and leading figures in music, entertainment, politics, you name it. They're going to be with us. And then thousands of ordinary, everyday volunteers like me, like you, who will be making phone calls. And you can sign up for one shift, put a couple hours in. You can sign up for 2 shifts. You can sign up for as many shifts as you can possibly perform over the course of that day, and know that more than anything else, more than perhaps in any other state, you could be deciding the outcome of this election, and therefore the future, the fate, the fortune of this country now and for every generation that follows. That's how big this phone bank is. And by signing up, you will automatically be entered in a drawing for one of these cool Calling Texas t-shirts. Thank you, Christy Gomez Duffy. Thank you, Zach, who is the man with the bullhorn that we see in that picture. We'd love to send you one of these t-shirts. They feel good. They're made in America. And they're supporting a good cause. Also, I understand Willie Nelson has signed some books and some t-shirts that we'll be giving away as well. We may have some prizes from some of the other guests who are going to be joining us. But most important is it's just that you join and you show up, make some phone calls, and you can do that by clicking on the link right here. So thank you. So Sophia and Sophia, PH and F, both say hi. Emily Mountain, one of our top callers, is on. Keith, I'm excited to see you as well. So join us on the phone bank. Lynn Jones says hi. Robert says hi. Greetings from Europe. Is that the band or the continent? Amy mailed in her ballot last week. Go Amy, you've already cast your ballot. And Bruce received his mail-in ballot today. Thanks to you all, and good to see everybody. I see Becky says, let's do it. That's right, Becky, let's do it. Look, Biden is tied with Trump in Texas. Would you ever think that that was going to be the case this close to one of the most, let's say the most important presidential election of our lives, that it would be Texas with 38 electoral college votes, which could decide the outcome. And it would be you who could call the voters in Texas who will be going into those polling places as soon as this next Tuesday, who could help them make a decision to vote for Biden and vote for Democrats up and down the ballot. In addition to electing the next president of the United States, Texas can help elect a Democratic majority to the state house for the first time in 20 years. That means no more racial gerrymandering. That means we have leaders who can take steps against the most onerous voter ID laws, 750 polling place closures, a racial gerrymander that has drawn Texans out based on the color of their skin or their country of national origin, an affront to democracy, civil rights, and frankly, human rights. This could be corrected if we win these critical, important races here in Texas this year. We can win these races if you sign up for this phone bank. And I'll start to give some shout outs to those who are signing up for the phone bank. Click right where my finger is, poweredbypeople.org/calling Texas. All right. Listen, you can sign up for a shift with Willie Nelson. You can tell your kids or grandkids, hey, I was making phone calls and was listening to Beto talk with Willie Nelson while I was doing it. You can sign up for a shift and hear Oprah Winfrey. I'm going to ask her some questions about what this election means to her and what she thinks Texas can do for the country. I'm going to be talking to Bernie Sanders. And listen, Bernie Sanders, more than almost anyone else who's not from the state of Texas, believes in this state. He's held town halls. He just held one with me and Julián Castro last week. He's campaigned in the state. He believes in us so much that he's going to be on this phone bank and maybe even making some phone calls with us on Monday. Julián Castro, who I believe will be in San Antonio, Texas. Sign up for a shift with Julián Castro. Stacey Abrams, tell me there is a fiercer fighter for democracy in this country today than Stacey Abrams and the work that she's doing to make sure that every voter can cast their ballot and that every ballot is counted. All the way from the great state of Georgia, Stacey Abrams is going to be with us. You can join her. And then Andrew Yang, with whom I became good friends over the course of the campaign. Andrew Yang, who's connected with so many people who didn't feel like they had an option on, in politics, who didn't see themselves in those who were contending for office, in his candidacy and in his person and in his way of dispensing with all the normal interference and friction in politics and just saying whatever the hell was on his mind. Andrew Yang will be making phone calls with us, and you can make phone calls with him. And you can sign up for a shift with any of those people that I just mentioned by clicking on this link right here. Galveston County is on. Rocio, if this is the Rocio I'm thinking of, Rocio has signed up for all shifts. Folks, Rocio, of the nearly 7,000 people who've made phone calls with our group, Powered by People in the state of Texas, Rocio is second only to Tim Leyva, who is, what Arnold Schwarzenegger is to bodybuilding, Tim Leyva is to phone banking. That's really the way that she's compared in a lot of the books on the subject. Rocio is second only to Tim. Rocio has signed up for every shift, I think hoping to surpass Tim in number of phone calls made. Ashley just registered to vote. Monday was the voter registration deadline. Go Ashley. Missouri City says hello. Missouri City, we say hello right back to you. We love Southeast Texas. We love spending time with you. We'd love you even more if you join this phone bank on Monday. Link at the bottom. I see so many comments streaming through. That's great. So many people are on right now. Glad that you all are joining us. Hope that you'll also be on for this phone bank. Jesse says Dorini is on as well. Dorini is one of our top 10 phone bankers. And in fact, as you know, if you are a top 10 phone banker, I mail you a batch of triple chocolate chip cookies. And Dorini has reached out to me to tell me that she enjoyed the cookies. Now, whether she did or not, it made me feel better. And so, Dorini, thank you for making the phone calls. Send a nice thank you after receiving the cookies. I tried my hand, folks, at some gluten-free chocolate chip cookies because we have a member of our team who is allergic to wheat. And I was really excited to do this. I went out and I bought the gluten-free flour. I don't know what it's made out of. And I, mixed the ingredients together as the cookbook told me to do, but I didn't make any allowance for the fact that I was using gluten-free flour. And I reached out to her today to ask her how the cookies tasted, and she let me down easy. She was trying to find a nice way to say that she could not eat them, that they were awful. So, fair warning, I'm going to be shipping out cookies to those who are making phone calls with us on this phone bank. We'll draw some names. I'll send out some cookies. The gluten-full cookies are fucking awesome. The gluten-free, I've got some work to do, but I'm willing to work on it. If you have a wheat allergy, let me know ahead of time. Okay, the other thing is you could win one of these amazing Calling Texas t-shirts that Christy Gomez Duffy, who's also in our top 10, has designed with a throwback to the Clash and the London Calling album and Elvis Presley. So you all are in really good company, and would love to see you on this phone bank with Willie Nelson and all these other amazing people that I just mentioned earlier. Yidma says, vote blue, vote Biden, Harris. Hey, what is your hot take on the vice presidential debate tonight? It's hard for me to think, given how intelligent, sharp, quick on the draw Kamala Harris is, that Mike Pence has much of a chance in this one. But you never want to take anything for granted, and we won't in this debate. And so we are sending our strength, our power, our calmness, our clarity, all that good stuff to Kamala Harris right now, as I'm sure she's in some kind of a holding room right now getting ready for this debate. She's going to make us so proud, I know it, but why don't you take a second and just concentrate your good energy and send it to her with all the strength that you've got to make sure that she has that with her when she debates Mike Pence tonight and is able to set the contrast between Biden, Harris, and Trump, Pence, the hatred, the racism, the fear upon which the current president, vice president operate and prey and whip up, and the hope and the ambition and the progressive agenda that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris represent. The ability to make sure that people in the midst of this pandemic have health care that they can count on, to make sure in the midst of the worst recession since the Great Depression that we get more of our fellow Americans back to work, who can finally help us to make progress on issues like gun violence or confronting climate change before it's too late, or reducing severely the police brutality that is being experienced by so many of our fellow Americans, especially Black men and women in this country. I'm thinking about the family of Jonathan Price right now here in Texas, who really, thanks to them, to the extraordinary attorney that they've hired, to all of you who expressed your outrage and your demand for justice, whose killer, a police officer in North Texas, has been arrested and charged with Jonathan Price's murder. I think in part thanks to all of you, especially those of you who led and participated in these Black Lives Matter marches. Senator Harris introduced a bill at a federal level to address some of the police brutality that we're seeing at the local level. I want her and Joe Biden in the White House. I want them to be able to lead on this issue and make sure that there's truly justice for everyone in this country. So I want all of that coming through on the debate stage tonight. I want all of us doing our part to connect with those voters who need to get out and vote. And in Texas, that begins this next Tuesday, 13th of October. And we're going to reach them this next Monday, the day before, on the 12th of October, in the Million Voter Phone Bank, the link to which is at the bottom of my screen. So, can you tell us, Kate, how many people have signed up since we began this live stream? I do want to do some shout outs for those who've joined. We have so many separate phone bank sessions on the 12th. You can phone bank with Bernie. You can phone bank with Andrew Yang, Julián Castro, Stacey Abrams, Willie Nelson. We have so many that it may be hard for Kate to follow who is signing up for which, but I know that you can get that to us, Kate. Cynthia says, todos con Biden. Marisa, thank you. Lots of people still scrolling in and tuning in. This is so great. Carlos, Gail, welcome to you both. Jeffrey says, vote, vote, vote. You're absolutely right, Jeffrey. Caroline, Donald, welcome. Danielle says, I cannot wait to vote. Early voting begins in Texas on the 13th of October. Philip says, yep, Texas is turning blue. And it is. Folks, if you tuned in late, breaking news, new poll out today. Biden, 48% in Texas. Trump, 48% in Texas. This is tied. This is totally possible, but it's not going to happen on its own. It's going to take you, and it's going to take you signing up for a phone bank to call into Texas, reach those Texas voters on the eve of early voting. So that's this coming Monday. It's the Million Voter Phone Bank, and there's a link right here. Kano, if you're listening, I want you to tell me if anybody's got questions they want me to answer. Rhonda, good to see you on there. I see Rhonda Gibbs who says, hello, Mr. Beto. Marisa says, sending good vibes and vote. Allison from Allen, Texas. Hello, Allen, Texas. Karina, who is a fellow El Pasoan. Love you, Karina. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for helping us to spread the word. Lisa's going to join us on Monday. I'm going to give shout outs to everybody who's up there. Hey, Stefan says something really important, and my bad. I neglected to mention this. MJ Hagar, folks, in the poll that I saw, at least, is 1 point down. 1 point down to John Cornyn. Now, remember, I lost to Ted Cruz by 2.5 points. And on the eve of that election, most polls had me down, 7, 8, 9 points. For MJ, with a little more than 3 weeks until this sucker is decided on the 3rd of November, for MJ to be down just 1 point this close, and the trajectory is only moving in one direction, right? She was like double digits down, then single digits down, and now is 1 point down. MJ Hagar could very well defeat the single greatest enabler of Donald Trump, John Cornyn, in the U.S. Senate. This guy Cornyn, if you are made sick by the kids in cages, the revelations today at the very highest levels of the Department of Justice, they were working to tear kids literally away from their mothers who had just traveled 2,000 miles, fleeing the most awful, brutal places on planet Earth to seek asylum and refuge in this country of asylum seekers and refugees and immigrants. If that makes you sick, know that John Cornyn made that possible. And if you want there to be consequence and accountability for what he did, then you want him to lose this race, and you want MJ Hagar, a combat veteran, a woman who broke the glass ceiling in the United States military for many other women to be able to serve at higher levels and positions. If you want someone you can be proud of in the U.S. Senate, then you want to help us win this race, and you want to see MJ Hagar help us produce a Democratic majority in the U.S. Senate, which, along with a Democrat in the White House, an even larger majority in the U.S. Congress, a Democratic state house in Texas, means that we can move forward on an ambitious, progressive agenda for this country. But it only happens if we do the work. Voting is nice, and I'm almost confident everyone on here is going to vote. Tweeting, liking stuff on Facebook, sharing this video right now so other people in your network see it, all that is necessary. But the most important thing you can do is reach out and connect with your fellow Americans here in Texas. Ask them to make a plan to vote on the 13th of October, which is this next Tuesday, first day of early voting, where they can avoid the long lines, where they can vote at any early voting location in their county at their convenience, where by so doing, they can help ensure that this state comes through for this country at the most defining, decisive moment in our history. That's what's on the line right now. That's why I'm asking for your help. Larry, Norma, who just joined us, thank you for being on here. There was a question that just came through. Kano, I'm sure, is going to try to help get me some of these questions, but here we go. Zachary asks, what can we do to get the ballot boxes returned to Harris County? This is complete and utter bullshit, not even attempting to hide their suppression. Now, Zachary, 100% correct. For those who don't know, our Republican governor, Greg Abbott, has unilaterally removed every supplementary absentee ballot collection site in the state of Texas, including in Harris County, which has nearly 2,000 square miles, meaning someone on the edge of the county who now has to drive to the only absentee ballot drop-off location might drive up to 50 miles, 50, to get there. This is a county that has more people than the entire state of Colorado or the entire state of Nevada. It has been reduced to one absentee ballot drop-off location. To contrast that with Los Angeles, that county has 398 ballot drop-off locations. But Zachary, here's the thing to remember. Thanks to Chris Hollins, who is the county clerk in Harris County. He's a Democrat, by the way. You have 24-hour voting in Harris County this year. You have drive-through voting where you can vote without leaving the comfort or safety of your car. You have ballot tracking for those who want to mail in those absentee ballots. And you have voting super centers that allow you, with total safety and at great distance from everyone else who is voting, to conveniently go to a central location and cast your ballot. So yes, this is utter and complete bullshit what Greg Abbott is doing, on top of the voter ID laws, the polling place closures, the racial gerrymander, the inability to register to vote online. But we are bigger than all of this, and we're going to overcome all of this. And we're going to elect a Democratic majority to the Texas legislature for the first time in 20 years, who can begin to dismantle the infrastructure of voter suppression and voter intimidation, Zachary, that you are calling our attention to right now. So let us go into this eyes wide open and not be naive about what we're up against. This is some really evil, unconstitutional, as you say, bullshit that Republican leadership in Texas is using, but it is desperation. They would not be trying this hard to keep you from voting if your vote was not this important and this decisive in the outcome, not just in Texas, but again, remember, folks, our votes for president will come in on the night of November 3rd. There's not going to be days or weeks of counting ballots because we didn't expand mail-in voting in Texas. There aren't a lot of mail-in votes to count. We will know the answer on the 3rd of November. And if for the first time in 44 years, nearly half a century, that's how long it's been since a Democrat won Texas. If for the first time since 1976, a Democrat wins the 38 electoral college votes of this state, then beyond the shadow of a doubt, Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. And there will be no possibility, mathematically, psychologically, politically, or otherwise, for Donald Trump to hold onto power. There will be no opening for him to try to create chaos and confusion about the results. There will be no possibility legally that he can contest those results in the federal courts, and including the Supreme Court. If you're worried about that scenario, the red mirage that some have warned us about, then Texas. If you want to win on election night, then Texas. And if you want to make that happen, then you've got to join us in the Million Voter Phone Bank. The link is right here. You sign up for a shift. You could sign up for a shift with Willie Nelson, with Bernie Sanders, with Julián Castro, with Stacey Abrams, with Andrew Yang. I'll also be having a conversation with Oprah Winfrey that day about how much is at stake in our democracy right now, how important Texas is. I'm so excited to hear from her and so grateful that she, Willie Nelson, all these other great people that I just named are going to be there. I mean, folks, Willie Nelson, you tell me anyone more iconically Texas than Willie Nelson. For him to make this a priority right now in this year, in his life, for all of us. That's really big. And I want you to have a chance to see him live on October the 12th. You can click this link right here, RSVP, sign up for a shift. I'm going to be asking you to make phone calls to perfect strangers in the state of Texas. This isn't easy, right? And it's not necessarily going to be fun, if I'm going to be honest with you. But it is absolutely necessary if we're going to win these important elections. You do not, do not want to wake up on the morning of November 4th wondering what more you could have done now, or on the 12th of October, which is when we're holding this million voter phone bank. You want to know that you have given this your all, that you voted, that you helped to get others to register to vote, that you tweeted your outrage at the president, that you posted great stuff on Facebook, but that you also did the not necessarily comfortable or easy or even fun work of calling people who don't know that the call is coming in, are surprised that you're reaching out, but who, when you connect with them and you say, hey, I just want you to know that the 13th, tomorrow, is the first day of early voting in Texas. You can avoid the long lines by going to your nearest early voting location. And sir or ma'am, you can help to decide the outcome for Texas and for the country if you do so. Can I count on your vote? Can I count on you going out tomorrow to vote early? That's all I'm asking you to do, right? And again, it's not necessarily easy, but you will feel so fulfilled, so full of purpose. You will no longer be a bystander to the blizzard of bizarre shit coming out of Donald Trump and the Trump administration. You will have agency. You will be able to take action. You will be able to impact the outcome of this election. And in a democracy, you cannot ask for anything more. And that power is within your hands. It's literally on your phones. You can sign up to do that at this phone bank. It's the Million Voter Phone Bank, Calling Texas. By the way, folks, we will be giving away these amazing Calling Texas t-shirts designed by Christy Gomez Duffy, who is one of our top phone bankers. I want you to have one of them, but to enter to win, you've got to RSVP, sign up, and make some phone calls with me and Bernie and Stacey and Julián and Andrew and Willie, and then listen to what I think is going to be a great conversation with Oprah Winfrey on that day. So, did you say Steve Yellen is on, Miss Cano, from basketball in the Barrio? So Steve Yellen, folks, who played for the University of Texas at El Paso Miners on the men's basketball team, who is now the color commentator when you listen to the games on the radio, who is an inspiration and mentor to me from the very first campaigns that I volunteered on in El Paso. If Steve Yellen, who along with Russ Bradford runs basketball in the Barrio in Texas, where for $1, any kid can go to a world-class basketball camp in Segundo Barrio in the 2nd Ward of El Paso. If Steve Yellen is going to be making phone calls with us on the 12th, this coming Monday, then you can as well. So the number of celebrities and heroes of mine or of yours who are signing up is pretty exciting. We had Ben McKenzie, who you may know from Gotham or other TV shows where he's been a star on. I had a chance to talk with him today on an Instagram Live that he was hosting. He's fired up to join us on Monday. I was just talking to John Favreau of Pod Save America. He's fired up, and I hope he's going to be joining us on Monday. He's certainly going to feature this on the next edition of Pod Save America, and we're grateful for that. We're just hearing from so many people who are signing up for shifts. We've got thousands of people so far combined on all those shifts with all those people that I just mentioned. We want you to be on there as well. And again, we're going to be giving away Willie Nelson signed t-shirts and books, O'Rourke home-baked triple chocolate chip cookies, these great Calling Texas t-shirts. I mean, this is a pretty cool shirt, if I may say so myself. And a lot of campaign t-shirts I don't want to wear. You kind of wear them for the candidate while you're knocking on doors, and then you kind of put them in a box of the stuff that you're going to give away after the campaign's over. This Calling Texas t-shirt I will wear for as long as the cotton holds together. Gabriella says hi. Shelly from Washington just signed up. Shelly, you are my hero. Thank you so much. We will make the most of your time. And if you want to join Shelly and Bernie and Stacey and Willie and all these great folks, you too can sign up. There's a link at the bottom of the screen. Kate says so far we've had 50 signups, more than 50 signups just since we've started this. So that's 50 people. And let's assume that every one of those 50 makes, let's say 100 phone calls on that, you begin to get an idea of the power of this phone bank and how many Texas voters that we can reach. And if you know anything about our electoral politics right now, you also now know the power that Texas holds in deciding the outcome of this election. It could be on election night, folks. If you're worried about contests in the courts, delays in counting ballots, hanging chads, and all those nightmares from 2000 and Bush v. Gore, then let's get this shit settled on election night, the 3rd of November, by making sure that Texas comes out in record numbers. And the only way to do that is to call those Texas voters who have the future of this country literally in their hands. And so when you sign up for this phone bank, I'll put you to work reaching those Texas voters, and we'll get them to turn out. Bobby Clavon, DeSoto, Texas, South Dallas County. Talk about one of my all-time heroes. I met her on the campaign trail in 2017, 2018. She taught me how to campaign, and she taught me how to connect with everyone. She taught me the power of representation at every level of everything that we do in all of our lives. And she walks the talk, folks. I haven't met anybody who campaigns any harder, who does a better job of connecting us all, regardless of the differences. If Bobby Clavon is going to be part of this phone bank, you want to be on this phone bank. She's another one of these Texas heroes who's joining. Maribel signed up yesterday. Maribel, thank you so much. I'm going to review and see if there's a few more questions I can answer or comments that I can read out loud. You all have been so great. There's so many comments coming through. It's hard to follow. Please join us Monday the 12th. Save Democracy, says Jennifer. Navia says, hell yeah, I'm signing up. Way to go. Navia or Navia. I see Jennifer Wright. This could be the Jennifer Wright that I know from El Paso, Texas. If so, or even if not, Jennifer, welcome aboard. Hope that you'll join us on the phone bank as well. Gilbert and Alice have just joined. Tom Smith is on. Duke says, I still have some Beto for Senate signs in the trunk if anyone wants one. That's awesome. We'll just save those for another day, maybe. But for now, let's focus on this phone bank. But Duke, I love that you still have them. Elizabeth, Ann, so many people keep joining this live stream. Rachel says, now this is a good question, and I wonder if Cynthia, if you're watching, if you can help me answer this, or David Weissong. Rachel wants to know, is there a way to buy the t-shirt, or can you donate? And then we'll send you a t-shirt. The short answer right now is no. The only way you can get one of these t-shirts is by signing up for the phone bank. And look, folks, this is not your standard campaign swag. This is an artful reflection of the urgency of this election. It's a throwback to the greatest record ever made by humankind, London Calling by The Clash. And also a throwback to the Elvis Presley record, where they originally got that green and pink design for London Calling, or as we're saying now, Calling Texas. If you want one of these shirts, you got to RSVP, you got to sign up. Maybe somewhere down the road, we'll sell this. I mean, this could be a situation where the only way you can get this shirt is in a secondary market on eBay for like $700. You don't want to find yourself in that kind of position. Do not spend your kids' college fund on a $700 Calling Texas t-shirt off eBay. There's nothing that's right about that. Instead, sign up. There's a link right here. You RSVP, you make some phone calls for us. We're going to pick a lot of winners on Monday the 12th, all of whom are going to get a t-shirt. We have small, medium, large, and extra large. And we'll even find another size for you if you are another size. Janice signed up with the Andrew Yang phone bank. So, by the way, you can sign up and make phone calls. After we have a chance to hear from Andrew Yang. You can do it after you have a chance to hear from Oprah. You can do it after you've had a chance to listen to Willie Nelson, Julián Castro, Stacey Abrams, or Bernie Sanders. And listen, folks, all the way from Vermont, on the other side of this country, when he is out there hustling for the Biden-Harris ticket in person right now, Bernie Sanders is doing that. I reached out to Senator Sanders because I knew that he got Texas. He understands that this state is in play. He is immune from the inertia of the last 44 years, that's how long it's been since we've won Texas. And he gets that this state is ready to step up and to do our job for the rest of the country, and he wants to help out. So when I called and invited him to join us for this phone bank, he said, yes, let's do it. And he didn't even pause. He didn't say, let me talk to my team, let me check my calendar. He says, I'm all in. I believe in Texas. That's why Bernie Sanders is gonna be there. So you all will be in very good company. We would love to have you out. And I'll tell you what, better than anything, if you have been down, depressed, if you've been on the precipice of despair, if all of that has got you wondering whether we're going to make it, maybe fearing that we won't. And listen, I've been there myself. And I think that there may be an evil genius in Donald Trump's strategy, that bizarre debate performance last week, folks. I think he wants to just make us throw up our hands and say, this stuff's too crazy. I don't want any part of this. This both sidism that we sometimes see in the media. The best antidote to that temptation to succumb to despair is to act and to make phone calls and to have some agency in this, some skin in the game. You don't want to be a witness. You don't want to be a bystander. You don't want to be in the audience to this election. You live in a democracy, for crying out loud. And part of the price to play, to be here, is to get involved. And voting, tweeting, all that stuff's important, has its place, voting most of all. But reaching out to others in this democracy, especially in the most voter-suppressed state in the country, that has worked so hard to stop Black Americans and Mexican-American Americans and Americans who live in communities of color from having access to the franchise and the ability to vote. If you want to make sure that this state comes through, if you want our democracy, which is undergoing the greatest pressure test in its 244-year history, if you want to feel okay at the end of the day, make some phone calls with me. It is the antidote to despair and depression, and it is the key to victory. And it is really 100% up to you, right? No pressure, but you will decide whether this country comes through on the night of November 3rd by reaching the voters in Texas on the day of October 12th. And you can do so by clicking this link right here. Tina's husband, Kate, I've got a little iPad screen up on here so that I can follow some of the comments Kate and Cynthia are sending me. Tina's husband is voting for the first time. Go Tina and go Tina's husband. Thank you for sharing that with us. Dustin just signed up and shared the link. Hell yes, Dustin. That makes me so happy. A bunch of people are signing up for the Yang phone bank shift. We just literally added a shift with Andrew Yang, and we went from 0 to 22 over the last 25 minutes. That's really impressive. Andrew Yang is adding a volunteer a minute right now. That gives you an idea of his power to connect and inspire people to act. Andrew Yang, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have, I think Cynthia told me Alyssa Milano is going to make phone calls with us. I'm looking on my, well, she'll confirm it in a little bit. So wonderful. Look, we're going to wrap up. Kate just sent me a reminder, shout out to complete the census. Yes, Texas, because of all of you who have completed the census, is going to pick up at least 3 new congressional seats. We already have 36 congressional districts. We're about to get 3 more. We already have 38 electoral college votes. We're about to get 3 more. Thanks to everyone who's filling out the census and is participating and is standing up to be counted at this historic, defining, decisive moment in the American story. So thank you to all. We're going to cut out, but let us all focus all of our energy and power and love and strength to Kamala Harris. She's about to face Vice President Mike Pence, and she has the opportunity to make the clearest contrast about what this election is all about and why we're all busting our tails on these phone banks, registering voters, and turning out these voters. And we want to send her all that we've got, wish her the greatest luck, break a leg on that stage, Kamala. We're for you. Last shout out is going to go to Elisa Tamayo, who is somebody who is very engaged in the work of democracy and happens to be from my hometown of El Paso, Texas. So Elisa, we're super proud of you, grateful for you. Bonnie says, go Blue Texas. We say, go Bonnie. You all be well. We will live stream again soon, probably tomorrow. We want to encourage as many people to sign up. We've got so many who signed up just over the last 30 minutes. Thank you to all. And if you can share that with friends, family members, classmates, colleagues, neighbors, and complete strangers, you'll put us that much closer to winning this election. So thank you all. See you soon. Be safe.